I want to begin today by talking to you about a short appearance in the Guardian newspaper in the United Kingdom of an interesting research article. On that 18th of November article, you will find records of the last 50 years, count them, half a century, of advertisements attacking climate change theory as scientific nonsense, as unproven, as mere hypothesis, and all the rest. Ads demonstrably shown to have been paid for, organized, and choreographed by the fossil fuel industry that didn't want it. And I want to talk to you about that article and about that research. Capitalism provides profits to enable companies who earn those profits to use those profits to promote more profits and to overcome any obstacle, including inconvenient scientific research. Now, of course, scientists disagree. That's how science is supposed to work. A scientist comes up, has a different perspective. The earlier scientists have to prove that they were right. There's a debate, evidence is presented, and then one changes one's minds depending on the preponderance of the evidence. So to show that scientists have disagreed, or that a scientist who believed one thing once and who believes something else later, doesn't prove that science doesn't work. It's a demonstration of precisely how it works. But here's the important point. When scientists disagree, they're disagreeing about science. They're not disagreeing because they have what? Profits at stake. That's what companies do. If they don't like the science, they are free to use their profits to undercut, to refute, to deny, to do anything and everything. And these documents, printed by The Guardian on the 18th of November, show they stop at nothing to get science squelched. Here's another thing to think about. The money that the companies use to dispute and undercut science, that's money they get from selling their product, which means you and I, when we buy the product, are paying for the deception that led us to buy the product in the first place. Wow. It's part of that lesson. Advertising is something we pay for that is done to shape how we work. We are paying to be manipulated. Well, the solution here is clear. Scientists ought to be free to debate, to do research, to question each other. For sure, that's how science advances. That has to be maintained. But what ought to be allowed, not allowed, is corporations to get in there. They have no business. That's not what they're for. And they either shouldn't be allowed to exist or they shouldn't be allowed to do that. And any scientist who takes money, who is paid, who is influenced, if that can be determined, it should be treated just like insider trading is treated in the stock market. You're punished. You lose your academic position. This is serious business. Last point. You know, in a rational economy, we would say to any company where science shows they're out of business because they're doing something that's bad for the society, that we as a society recognize that's no fault of these people. They did what they did while they were producing because it was understood to be valuable. Now science has changed. It isn't. We should take care of them, find them new jobs, maintain their income as they go from the old job to the new job. Come on, we're smart enough to do all of that. That way we could accommodate what science teaches without creating in anyone, worker or capitalist, an incentive to undermine the scientific growth of our civilization. This is serious business, folks, and leaving it in the hands of big corporations was proven to be a disaster to our climate, and we should at least learn from that.